Let's jam.
Ivy Hearties! We just finished watching the Netflix One Piece! And boy, do we have some stuff to tell you about it. So, Azurean and I had finished watching all the dubbed episodes that have been released of One Piece on the Crunchyroll. And we finally got around to finishing watching the live-action Netflix One Piece series. And definitely worth checking out if you like the show back in the day. If you haven't seen One Piece in a while, but you remember it fondly, or if you've never seen the show before and you're just kind of curious to check out what One Piece is about, the One Piece live-action Netflix series, or however it's being referred to as, is definitely worth your time.
Army Hearties, One Piece. I don't know. What do you want me to say?
Say some of the things you think about it.
I like how the live action doesn't stray from the weirdness of the anime. Of course, they do where budget is an issue. There's a character that has been relegated to a background scene. Like, I don't think it's too much of a spoiler. I don't.
Why would you need to mention it? I didn't even see them.
Oh.
If it's who you're talking to, I think.
Well,
about
it's
it,
the thing. It's like
but,
it's a major scene. Well, they hit all the major beats that they do in the anime and manga. They do have to leave out a lot of like little sideline stuff. Some story, minor stories are left out completely.
Each episode is roughly around 50 minutes to an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And what was it, 8 episodes?
Yes. The whole first season is 8 episodes.
It goes from the beginning of the series to the end of the Arlong saga.
Yes, the Arlong is ultimately. I don't think that's a spoiler. You know, Arlong's in it. He's the big bad. He's the big bad of season 1, and like I said, they had to condense a whole lot of. No, he is. He's the big bad.
There's another character, but we can leave that for later.
No, he's not the big bad.
So
what other character is the big bad?
The series stars.
I want to bring this back.
Inaki Godoy as Monkey D. Luffy. I'm probably butchering that name, but forgive me. Next we have Emily Rudd as Nami. Mekenyu Arata, or as the credits just call him, Mekenyu, as Roronoa Zoro. Jacob Gibson as Usopp. And Taz Skylar as Sanji. Those are all the Straw Hats that we get to meet in the Netflix series so far. Presumably we'll get to meet at least one, maybe 2 others in the next season, hopefully.
How do you define the big bad?
Let me tell you something. I think he could be considered the big bad. He's chasing him throughout the whole season.
I suppose, but he's not bad, though.
Yeah, I know.
I disagree. But anyway, that's it for the Straw Hats. But then, of course, you have the supporting cast of Morgan Davies as Kobe. I find him of particular interest, being trans.
Was very nice getting to see them get more screen time. In the original series, they are kind of just gone like right after their introduction, and we don't see them again until a significant time gap has happened, and he's grown up quite a bit.
Like a few seasons worth of episodes.
Yes, a few hundred episodes of the anime.
And the live action, he never really goes away.
Yes, he stays in the show throughout the whole season.
And it is
nice, and we get more development.
Yes, you get to actually see it, because like in the anime, I'm sure the manga as well, he just reappears and has had all this development off screen. And it's kind of cool seeing it that way too, because you're like, oh, I remember that guy.
Yeah, or maybe you don't. It had been several years since anybody had last seen him. Yeah,
then nobody recognizes, so he got to be reintroduced. Like, you don't get 2 intros very often. But it is neat to see something that you couldn't see any other way. You get to see his transition. From zero to hero.
So I was unaware that either you told me this and I forgot, or you never mentioned it. But I did not know that the actor played Kobe was trans.
Yes.
Okay.
Trans mask.
Next we have what is that? Ilya?
Yeah.
Or- Ilya Isorelis Paulino as Elvira.
She's one of the villains of the
She
series.
was like one of the first bad pirates that we get to meet. Then the as stated earlier, the major bad guy of the arc is McKinley Belcher as Arlong, and Jeff Ward as Buggy. He did a great job, I think.
Yes, he's from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
He is definitely. Was he the guy that was the traitor?
Oh no!
No?
That's another guy.
Oh, okay.
I forget his name.
For some reason, the name Ward
Zeke's
stuck
much
out.
later in the
Okay.
series.
But anyway, Buggy in the original series was like a one and done at first, and then he just kind of shows up later, and then we don't see him for quite a long time. But in this one, we kind of keep seeing a little bit of him throughout, though not as much as Kobe or Arlong being more of a focus villain. But yeah, Buggy is definitely given a lot more time to shine and a lot more attention to be like you're gonna know that this guy is important type of thing.
Yeah, I like it because like a lot of these guys have truncated storylines.
Yes.
Buggy, like, yeah, he, a little bit, but also like they give him the most out of any of the villains. I believe anyway. And I think it's my theory, my belief is that they could show his devil fruit power with a lower budget because of the certain things of the way he appears. They can use much cheaper camera tricks, or special effects, whereas or visual effects. Whereas, like, Luffy stretching is incredibly cost prohibitive, so yeah, he does not use it nearly as... He doesn't use his stretchy powers nearly as much as he does in the anime.
I mean...
He still uses it a lot.
I still think that he gets to show it off a bit, and
no, he does.
All of his major early attacks get shown.
Yes, this is true, but then, like, Luffy rarely throws a regular punch or kick early on. And in this TV show, he does it all the time.
I guess I just didn't notice it too much.
I mean, they do a good job.
Aiden Scott is Helmeppo. And Langley Kirkwood is his dad, Captain Axian Morgan. Peter Gadiot? How would you pronounce that? Shakes his name.
Yeah.
Gadiot. Peter Gadiot as Shanks. Red-haired Shanks.
Yes.
Let's see, we've got Stephen Ward is Mihawk. Oh my god, Mihawk.
Mihawk's perfect.
As far as some of the like lesser known characters that show up in this early part, I think he was like the standout. Like he was amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we got to see a little bit more of him than in the original source material. Even if just a few extra scenes. But oh my god, he's amazing. I can't wait to see him again later.
His look is dead on.
Yes, they definitely captured it perfect. Now, as mentioned earlier, Arlong is in this. He I think they did the best job they could in adapting him into live action, as he's like far more unrealistic of a character, being a fishman with a saw nose.
Yeah.
But I think that they made it look more like what a real the fish looks like that is based on. So that's why he looks so much different.
Yeah.
Next is
he's a little less blue than I would have liked. He's more of a purple.
He's mostly the actor's natural color, I would say.
Well, at times, but I don't know.
But yeah, they could have made him a little more blue, for sure.
They have blue fishmen.
Next, we have Craig Fairbrass as Chef Zeph. And,
also looks great.
Yes, they did a great job with him,
yeah,
and I definitely think his whole repertoire with Sanji was done very well, especially given that they're able to change up the dialogue to be more mature.
Yes,
they're able to toss barbs at each other that are more realistic than calling things crap and geezer as their only way of expressing their frustrations with each other. They're able to throw some light cuss words at each other, which is more fitting of the sailor talk, as it were. Let's see, who else do we have here? It was worth talking about. Oh, Don Krieg. Unfortunately, Don Krieg is relegated to just a very small scene, so they didn't give him too much of a screen time, but he was played quite well for what we got to see of him by Milton Shore, or Shar. Would you say that?
I would say Shore.
Shore. Let's see. We've got all the Straw Hats get flashbacks to their youth, which I thought was kind of interesting. But yeah, Colton Osorio as young Luffy, and Maximilian Lee Piazza as young Zoro, Kevin Sola as young Usopp, Christian Convery as young Sanji, and Lily Fisher as young Nami. And yeah, I definitely think that they spent the right amount of time on each of their youth. Although maybe Luffy's was a little bit on the longer side, but hey, he's the protagonist, so you can forgive that. But yeah, the rest of them we got to see, maybe a good 10, 15 minutes at most.
Yeah, everybody got a decent amount.
It wasn't like too much time lingering on their backstory. Yeah. But yeah, I think they did all of them great service. Yeah. None of them really felt like that doesn't even look like the same person.
Yeah,
I have seen movies where they show the character as at a younger point in their life, and they look nothing like the famous actor that they're supposed to be growing into.
I would say the one thing that did bug me just a little bit. There's like two things actually.
Yeah.
One of them was Luffy does not seem to have an accent as a child.
Oh,
He's developed one as an adult, and I could understand it if there was some, in-world influence, but it seems that his life stays it stays pretty much the same. Something similar happened with Nami and her sister.
Okay.
They grew up together. They should have had the same accent.
Well,
and they don't.
They grew up together for a time, then they split it apart.
Yeah, this is
many
true.
years.
But where did it? Nobody else there.
I get you saying. Next, we've got Kuina is played by Audrey Simone. Simone.
Just give it a shot.
Let's see. Skipping a few here. Oh, Ian McShane. Oh my goodness! Ian McShane was the narrator. He's Blackbeard in the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay.
And in John Wick, he's the guy who runs the Continental. Let's see. Yasop is Steve Mark. Gold Roger, Michael Dorman. Who I also thought they did a great job. I look forward to getting flashbacks of them at some point, hopefully. Did we not get? See, where is he? Do they not have him on here, Kuro? Huh. Don't know what the hell that is. Alright, so anyway, so those are just some of the names in this series. We think the show is definitely worth anybody's time. Some of the cool stuff they do with like the wanted posters in the show I thought were really clever.
Yeah, they seem to be like exist in this alternate dimension where they show the wanted poster and then the character destroys it by either intentionally or just by walking through it.
Yeah,
and it's just a really, really cool, really cool effect.
And the title cards. Each episode's got a different different version of the One Piece logo based off of each character.
Yes. Like if there's a certain major if the episode's gonna focus heavily on one character or characters, they'll do an homage to that character with the title. I think it kind of makes up for the lack of eye catches.
Now, yes. Also, the one of the things that Oda has done is giving each of the members of the crew their own like Jolly Roger design, and that was kind of what they used to incorporate into these logos. I feel. At least in some sense, but definitely worth checking out. I can't wait for season 2.
Yes, which has been confirmed.
Yes, it has been confirmed, although I don't know that there's been a release date given. If there has by the time this video comes out, I'll leave it in the description, but I doubt it. I will check it right up until the day I'm uploading it.
Yeah, something like this.
But,
I would expect at least a year.
But we're also, like I said, we're also waiting on the new episodes of One Piece. We're currently waiting for the final act of Wano to be dubbed into English.
Yes. And thusly released onto the Crunchyroll.
Strangely enough, the next saga has been released on some streaming services, the Egghead arc, but it's only in Japanese. It's not dubbed at all. But we're still waiting for the dub. I've obviously read a bit further, but I have not finished the Wano arc. For some reason, the bookstore we go to has been having the next volume available.
We have a very limited capacity to go to bookstores. There really aren't any near us at all, so we have to go way out of our way, and we basically have, you go this way, you get one store, you go this way, you get another store, and if you go this third way, you get another store. It's like, go all over. Yeah, there's Erie, Lakewood, and Hamburg. So it's like, it's all the same store. It's all Barnes and Noble. That's it. That's all we get. There's no like mom and pop. But actually, it's a mom and pop shop, but they don't carry manga. They carry older books. Well, they could potentially carry manga, but it would have to be like donated to them.
So anyhow, definitely think that the One Piece live action series is really cool. And if you are on the fence about checking it out, and you want to take our word for it, we suggest you do so.
I didn't like it. I'm just kidding. I loved it. I thought it was wonderful. And the one thing about the low budget is that when, lower budget, I should say, is that when something super happens, like a really cool, gum move, it means so much more. And you're like, oh my god, we finally get to see it live action. Geeked out quite a few times with that.
I definitely was geeking out quite a bit. And the fact that that the story was like stuff we'd already seen, we weren't we weren't like spoiling it for each other or anything as far as like, oh my god, this is something that's gonna happen. Yeah, and you're like, Sakako, why? I didn't know that was gonna happen. It's like, nope, she already knew that was gonna happen. We already both know the original story. So just getting to see what changes they made, which were not like severe, like other than like a few things being shortened for runtime.
Yes. They cut a lot of the fat out. But, there's one thing. The kids that Usopp used to hang out with, they just don't exist. Or they were relegated to the background. And
we didn't notice them.
Yeah, we just didn't notice. But, yes.
It's possible they were recorded, but they cut them for time.
Yeah, there's a couple things. But all the major beats are there. Anything that's cut is not something that is integral to the character's development, or integral to get them to be developed the way that they want. So it is very true. Oda had his hands, he was really in there. He made them change things when he didn't like them. He was very strict with what they could do.
And thankfully the creators were listened to him.
Yes. I
mean, we've definitely heard stories, and I'm sure you have as well, about certain adaptations of things where they were like, we don't care what you have to say, creator. We're going to do our own thing. And everybody hates it because it's not faithful to the source material.
Yeah. Or they just don't consult them at all.
Yeah.
Like you had, Saint Seiya.
Or the creator's dead. And they have no way of reaching out to them.
What was another? I didn't like the Bleach movie adaptation. I thought it was alright, but that's another one that, as close as they got it, it was still, wasn't anywhere near. That's also on Netflix, and it is nowhere near the level of adaptation of this. This is, the most faithful live-action adaptation that they could have, I think we could have possibly gotten. Maybe in another, 10 or 20 years, we'll get one that's, manga perfect.
3 Sword style.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
I like it. Season 2, super stoked. Oh, yeah, that's... one last... They name drop characters that originally were not introduced. They either didn't exist, or, they, Oda hadn't created them, or just simply hadn't introduced them
Yes.
at this point in the set. Well, either way,
Yes,
introduced.
agreed.
So it's like they'll name drop it, like, oh, that's gonna make sense to like people who have watched a lot more episodes, or know what's coming up in the future. There's a lot of it, and it really helps to streamline the storyline.
Yes. And the fact that in the original, the names of places was not always prevalent. Where Luffy grew up is in the Goa Kingdom, and that isn't revealed until like 700 episodes into the series that becomes a thing. It's like, oh yeah, I grew up in the Goa Kingdom, and I met this other guy here, and it's like, really? We just knew it as Windmill Village.
Yeah.
But apparently, we find out, Windmill Village is just a small part on the coast of the Goa Kingdom as a whole. But yeah, they mention the Goa Kingdom right off the bat here. And several times it comes up. And, the end credits show, like, the map, different maps of the East Blue. And you get to see these different islands. And over the course of the episodes, as they come up and they get visited, we see more of the islands. And they're all ones from, or at least most of them I could recognize were either something that they visit or something that was in the manga. Even if it's like just the chapter page things where there was one story that one of the islands that gets offhanded mentioned is shows up
like
in.
Mirror Ball Island.
That's it. That's the one.
Yeah. Oh, is it spoiler?
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I couldn't think of it, but that was the one.
Gosh, there was what? How could I even? They changed the scenery a bit in the live action and as opposed to the anime and probably the manga. They definitely wanted to lean a lot harder into like the seaside town look. And you got to see things like the bar is like way more. It looks like more like a tiki bar than it did in the show. It just looked like a regular bar. It could be anywhere.
And the snails, the communication snails get a bit of an upgrade as far as what they could do and how they look. There's even like ones that are like an earpiece.
Yes,
which was something that I don't think they'd ever shown before, so that was cool.
Yeah, that was really neat. It helps the show feel like.
And one got fed.
Yes,
there was a character feeding one of the communication snails, and I'm like, I don't think I'd ever seen that happen in all the series. Yeah. Anybody treat it as a living creature that needs sustenance.
It's extremely rare that it's acknowledged that they are a living creature. Like, they just
exist as a gag.
Yeah, I for the longest time wasn't 100% sure if they were actual snails or not. But I mean, there are a few, very very few and far between. There's that one snail that Buggy is trying to like. He's like. Talking like maybe the snail's scared, doesn't want to come out of the shell.
Yeah.
And he was trying to, and then the snail like got the courage, in the anime, got the courage to come out of his shell.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
And there was also another one in, it's way in Dressrosa. I don't think it's too much of a spoiler, but there's a certain group of people that free one of the snails. They take all the transponder stuff off of it and return them to nature, and it looks very happy to have been released. So. Those are like the only times I can recall that they seem to react like they had their own will.
Yeah, agency. And stuff.
They definitely seem alive.
But so that was definitely another thing that was really really cool addition. And there was a couple other things here and there I thought were interesting touches. Also, the violence is definitely a lot more than what they were able to show back in the first seasons.
They definitely amped it up a bit. Like, people die.
It's
a little more obvious that people are dying.
Unlike what a lot of people say, Zoro never killed it. Oh, maybe he killed this one character here. It's like, no, characters are getting killed.
Yeah, in this, there are times where you clearly see someone die. Like, there's a few where, like, maybe they survived, but there's a few where, like, that one's definitely dead. Like that prisoner that Luffy.
Like if this was a horror series, I'd be like, oh man, Dead Meat's got to do a kill count for this, but they wouldn't do something like this. There'd have to be a different channel doing it. But somebody could totally do a kill count for this series.
Oh, absolutely.
There's definitely a body count.
Yeah, it's not like it doesn't steal the focus either. It's realistic. You get in a fight, I kill this guy, move on to the next one. Like, it's not, like, like, if they didn't, I mean, I don't feel like, it doesn't take anything away, but it adds a little bit. Oh, gosh. It's
also, as you mentioned, the villages were done pretty well. The pirate ships and stuff. Getting to see like tables being suspended from the ceiling was really cool. And getting to see like some of the interior of the ship that doesn't typically get focused on was pretty cool.
It is really rare to see
and
that.
And Sanji's cooking. We got to see some of the food that they cook in the show, which I cannot really recall the food getting nearly the Food Wars style focus of it being prepared or eaten. In fact, that's another thing. Characters that eat food, they're actually putting the food in their mouth and eating it instead of just getting served food. It's like, oh, I'm not hungry. Yeah, I'm gonna leave this. I'm gonna leave the scene.
Yeah,
maybe
the viewers don't notice, but yeah, it's like we both notice that like when a character is eating in a lot of live action, even American animated things. No hate. It's just they'll have food in front of them and they'll poke at it or maybe take a nibble. But the majority of the time, characters, either the scene ends or a character leaves without eating anything. And in the One Piece anime, they eat all the food. Like, it's rare that something happens and they're not able to finish their food. It does happen, though, but it's really rare. But then it's like in the live action, it's the same way like it is in the anime. They have food before them, they eat it all. Hey. It's such a little thing, but it's always so annoying. When you see food being served and nobody's eating it, it's like, you're hungry. Like, I get you're angry, but somebody's not angry. Somebody's going to eat that food.
So going off of that, you mentioning the issues with the budget, Luffy eating more than his own body weight in food. That doesn't happen yet. Yeah, so maybe they're saving that for a bit when they have more budget, but hopefully that'll be in season 2.
Yeah. Oh, and Sanji doesn't cover both eyes. I mean, one eye.
Yeah.
It is mostly covered,
like he does have it over his eye in some shots, but they don't make any effort to keep it hidden entirely.
Yeah, I think they figured it's just going to be way too difficult to always make sure
the blocking would be just too difficult. Yeah. Especially when he's fighting and stuff. In anime, it's easy. They just draw it that way, and it just happens to be covering his eye, and we never get to see it.
It would have looked really janky, and it would have been hard to but also no curly eyebrows, at all. Not even a slight curl. Not even oh god, okay, I see what they did. No, just regular eyebrows.
And his accent, you were saying the accent doesn't really fit his origin in the anime.
I thought, well, it's not too bad. I mean, a lot of the characters, they basically pick who fits the role the best, and if they have an accent, they have an accent.
And in all likelihood, we won't ever get to that point where
we probably won't make it to that. It's not that I didn't like the accent, it's just, it would have been a great time to work, I don't want to spoil too much.
Yeah.
But he is from a country that mirrors a real world country, to some degree anyway. And it would have been great to give him an accent from that real world country as like a little nod to it. Yeah. Because as Sakanka states, it's a Netflix series. It'll be lucky to make it past 3 seasons. It might actually go as many as 5, I would say. But I will be.
What's Stranger Things up to?
Stranger Things, that one is their big flagship, and that one I think season 5 I think is the last season.
Okay, that's fair then.
And that's their biggest show. One Piece, realistically, I will be shocked if it makes it to a season 5, but it will go no further.
Definitely give it a watch then. Make sure they know people are interested in this. When the new season comes out, please watch it straight away. We waited a lot longer than we should have. Yeah, we were watching the anime. Yeah. We were still way behind. Yeah, that's why it's very fresh for both of us. I started rewatching it even before before Sakanko came into the picture. I was starting to catch up with it. So when he moved in, we eventually started watching it together. So it is still very fresh. It's only been 2 years? And I read it back in 2004 when it first came out.
Yeah, so we're both.
At least I think that's the.
It's still fairly fresh.
But I remember it quite well. Only a few minor moments. I think you remembered more than I did. But I think we've run out of things to say about this, and again, we hope we convince you to check it out. They do the franchise a great service. Can't praise it any more than we already have.
Well, awesome. Da, 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 da. I don't know the words.
One Piece. Also, birds.
Yes,
The
yes.
birds.
They actually have the messenger birds or whatever they're called that deliver the newspaper. But anyway,
News Coos.
News Coos. Goodbye.
Bye.
Happy Fursuit Friday. Did we say that?
No, actually, we did.
Happy Fursuit Friday. If it's Friday.
But yes, happy Fursuit Friday. Bye bye.